So it seems crazy to say, but after next year, we might not get any more Kyries. I'm not kidding either, it looks like the Nike Kyrie line could be done. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler, and today we're talking about the possible end of the Nike Kyrie signature sneaker line. On a side note, if you guys haven't yet entered the Air Jordan 2 Union LA Gray Fog giveaway, make sure to do so by subscribing to the channel by clicking that subscribe button down below, and also signing up for the Apothecary email list by clicking the link in the description below. So I've been buying Nike Kyrie signature sneakers since they first started releasing back in 2014, as I'm sure a lot of you have, and over the last 8 or so years, they've released 8 different mainline Kyrie signature shoes, as well as low tops and some other variations. But according to industry insider Adrian Wojnarowski, if you say it fast enough, it sounds right, or you can just call him Woj, and also Ramona Shelburne, it looks like this Nike line could finally be coming to an end. So the title of this ESPN article is Nike Unlikely to Extend Signature Shoe Deal with Kyrie Irving Past 2022 and 2023 Season, sources say. Which to me is crazy, but not totally surprising. I just didn't think Nike was actually going to do this because even though I'm sure the Kyrie line isn't selling as well as it used to, it's still probably doing okay. So over the last couple years, Kyrie Irving has become more and more controversial, and there's a bunch of different reasons for that, but it kind of makes sense that Nike is trying to sever ties with someone that they find not as consumer friendly as they once were. So if you've been following Kyrie Irving recently, you know that both Nike and his basketball team, the Brooklyn Nets, have both kind of been having some issues with him recently. He hasn't been showing up to basketball games for a lot of different reasons that I'm not going to get into, but he missed a lot of basketball games, and that's not just because he didn't get the COVID vaccine, it's for some other reasons that he stated, and because of that, it made the Nets a much weaker team overall because they just didn't have the chemistry that they would have had if they had played together the entire season, and consequently, they got swept in the first round, which honestly I don't think a lot of people saw coming until like game 2, but it was not the best performance from the Brooklyn Nets, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but I think if Kyrie had been there the whole season, things might have been different. So because of all of that, the Nets are sort of non-committal towards Kyrie Irving. He says that he wants to be back next year, but they haven't guaranteed that he's going to be back yet. I wouldn't be surprised if he came back next year, but they haven't said that he's going to be there or not there, which is not the case for most of the other players on the team. And as a Sixers fan, the whole Ben Simmons saga was not a lot of fun from the Sixers point of view, and I feel like the Nets are getting a little bit of that, not just from Ben Simmons, but also from Kyrie. But while I think some of his more controversial takes on current events don't help his relationship with Nike, and also the fact that he's not playing a lot of basketball also probably doesn't help with his relationship with Nike, I think the main thing that started to create this rift between the brand and Kyrie Irving himself is a tweet that he put out last year. So if you're not familiar with this story, last year an image of Kyrie Irving's upcoming Kyrie 8 signature sneaker leaked online, and while most athletes would usually ignore that and just kind of let it happen and not make it a big deal, Kyrie Irving made it a very big deal. And the reason for that is because apparently when this image leaked, a lot of people online were calling the shoe trash and calling it the worst Kyrie signature sneaker ever. And rather than just commenting back and saying, no, it'll look better in person, he tweeted a picture of the shoe and also called it trash. Okay, I was wrong. It wasn't a tweet, it was an Instagram comment, but regardless, quote, "I have nothing to do with the design or marketing of the upcoming Kyrie 8. In my opinion, these are trash. I have absolutely nothing to do with them. Nike plans to release it without my okay regardless of what I say. So I apologize in advance to all of my sneakerheads and true supporters of the Kai 11 brand." So there's a lot to unpack here. Usually, whenever an athlete works on a signature shoe with the brand, they have some input as to what the signature shoe will look like and how it will perform. So it is a little odd that supposedly Nike didn't allow him to have any input on this upcoming Kyrie 8. Now, I think there might be a couple reasons for that. I don't see why they would say, no, you can't work on this sneaker at all. I'm sure there was a reason for that. At least I hope there was a reason for that. But either way, it is kind of weird that he didn't have any input on this signature sneaker, and I do understand the anger and frustration that would come from that. However, as a signature athlete with your own signature shoe, I think you should treat that product as something that you care about and that you like, even if it's not something that you absolutely love. I've released things in the past, maybe sock colorways that I wasn't 100% in love with, but at the end of the day, it bears my name and it's something that reflects on me. And yes, while I understand that he's annoyed that Nike didn't talk to him about it, it's still a pretty similar shoe to other Kyries, and honestly, if you're calling that trash, you're calling a lot of the recent Kyries trash. I don't know, I can see both sides of the argument. I see where he's coming from. If it's something that does bear his name, he should have total control over it, and I still find it really hard to believe that Nike didn't let him, change anything or determine anything about the design of the sneaker, but it is possible. We'll probably never know all of the ins and outs of the situation, but regardless, this definitely did not make Nike happy, especially because this shoe was probably already in production. They had probably already made hundreds of thousands of pairs of this sneaker, and the fact that Kyrie would come out and say something like this definitely hurt the sales of this shoe, especially if you're a Kyrie Irving fan. If he said it was trash, I don't think you'd buy this shoe. Apparently a couple weeks later he came out and softened what he said and rephrased things a little bit, but the damage had already been done. That comment had already made its rounds around the internet, and by that point there was nothing you could do. I mean, personally, I don't love the Kyrie 8, but I don't think it's trash. It looks just like every other performance basketball sneaker out there. There's nothing wrong with it, and like I said, it looks a lot like a lot of the other recent Kyrie sneakers. In addition to that, I also wouldn't be surprised if the sales of the Kyrie line have just kind of tapered off over the last couple years. Kyrie hasn't been as popular as he once was. Nike performance basketball sneakers haven't been as popular as they once were. There's a lot more competition out there in the market. You've got New Balance, you've got Puma with the MB1, which is apparently like one of the best basketball sneakers of the year. There's a lot more going on, and Kyrie shoes just don't have that hype that they used to have. You could release a Kyrie collaboration a couple years back, and it would sell out like the Krispy Kremes. That shoe sold out and actually resold for a lot of money, but nowadays, there's like 4 or 5 different colorways that release through the year, or maybe even more than that. There are a couple collaborations, but they don't really move. In fact, if you look at NBA players, not as many NBA players are wearing his shoes anymore. It's mainly KD's and LeBron's and other brand sneakers. So I think with a possible slump in sales and also the bad blood created by this Instagram comment, Nike was just kind of over it with Kyrie. I should also say that Nike and Jordan Brand have also signed some of the best upcoming basketball talent. You've got a lot of young stars like Luka Doncic and Zion Williamson, even though he hasn't really played. A lot of players who will absolutely be able to move signature sneakers, whether it's through Nike or through Jordan Brand. And I think if Nike decides that they want to sever ties with Kyrie, they've got a lot of other great talent that could probably move more sneakers to the younger audience. Now, with all of that being said, Nike hasn't come out and said that they're severing ties with Kyrie. In fact, their official statement is, "We don't comment on contracts or rumors or speculation. Kyrie remains a Nike athlete," so they're obviously staying tight-lipped about this whole situation. But according to the ESPN article that I referenced earlier, it looks like Nike will be releasing the Nike Kyrie 9 because that shoe is probably already in production. That shoe should drop sometime this fall, and that shoe will carry Nike and Kyrie through the 2022-2023 basketball season. It also looks like Nike won't be completely severing ties with Kyrie and instead just reducing the amount of products they make with Kyrie's name on them. They're going to stop the signature line and maybe just retro some of the more classic colorways and styles, but it does kind of look like they're not going to release any more new Kyrie signature basketball shoes after next year. I mean, I'm not like the biggest Kyrie fan out there. I respect his game. I think he's an incredible basketball player when he plays. I like his basketball sneakers. The Kyrie 2 is my go-to basketball sneaker from like 2015 to like 2018. I love that shoe. But as of right now, I don't have any Kyries in my collection, at least not that I know of. So for me, it's not going to be like a huge loss not be able to go to the store and buy Kyries anymore because I haven't done that in a year or two at this point. But I mean, this news is still kind of a bummer, especially for Kyrie collectors out there who buy every single colorway. I know there's not a lot of them, but there are some out there. And it also sucks for people who like performance basketball sneakers that are priced well because Kyries were always pretty budget friendly. Now, I mean, Nike does have a lot of other budget friendly basketball sneakers out there, and they're probably going to release more after next year to fill the void that the Kyrie sneaker line is leaving. But I don't know. It is going to be kind of weird to walk into Foot Locker in a year and a half and not see any more Kyries on the shelves or not see any new Kyries on the shelf. That's something that I've gotten used to over the last almost 10 years. And I think the sneaker world is going to be kind of worse for it. But at this point, I would love to know your thoughts on this entire situation and whether you feel like Nike is right to sort of reduce the scope of their relationship with Kyrie Irving. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Also, let me know if you've been a big Kyrie fan for the last couple years, if you collect all of his sneakers, and how you feel about not being able to walk into Foot Locker in 2 years and pick up a new pair of Kyries. I mean, I guess you might be able to grab retros, which some people might actually like more because the retros were better than the newer models in my opinion, but it is what it is. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to enter the giveaway for the Air Jordan 2 Union LAs in the gray fog colorway. In order to enter this giveaway, all you need to do is subscribe to my channel and sign up for the Apothecary email list by clicking the link in the top of the description below. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.